Hi, it's Gabby. Hey. Just dropped my phone completely. The sun is trying so hard to come out, but it's so windy and cold. But it's time for another video. I'm gonna do a mom talk, and it's pretty perfect timing because I currently just made a how to homeschool for the easily depressed course, which is basically a document that is everything you need to know to get started with homeschool. It's nothing extremely specific. It's the paperwork, tips on curriculum, tips on scheduling, homeschooling, how to find your homeschooling community, and just some homeschool truths. And I just have it as a hope to make people realize that are questioning whether they want to do homeschooling or not, to kind of help them make that decision, let alone let people know, like, this is how you get started. It's kind of a get started thing. And it's going to be out on May 1st. So I decided to do this May talk, all about our mom talk, all about whether to homeschool or not, which I do discuss in this document. But my biggest thing is there is no easy way to teach your child, period. That is just something that will always take time and effort, is raising children, but especially teaching them in any form for that matter. And how everybody's homeschooling and regular schooling looks completely different is the same. And especially homeschooling, everyone's homeschooling journey looks totally different. It doesn't matter whether you work, whether you stay at home, whether you do everything for free, whether you spend money, whether you do online curriculum, just, religion-based, non-religion based. That's nothing that I'm going to talk about. And that's the same with schooling, versus public schooling, private schooling in general. Let's just say that, everything has its pros and cons. And it really comes back to, what do you want your child learning, and how can they learn? And what effort are you able to do in the lifestyle that you're in right now? And have those decisions be the huge things leading forward for you. I have been a full-time working parent and a stay-at-home working parent to homeschool David. He has ADHD. I don't want to medicate him. Homeschooling became an option because of the pandemic, and I've never looked back on it since. The option for him to go to schooling is always there. And honestly, if I put him back in schooling, if I was able, I'd probably put him in a private school, regardless of the money. And that simply is because of my thoughts about ADHD, which things I don't think the public school can offer, and I'm not really willing to extremely fight a school system that I know is against me and my son to begin with. And that's just my personal experience. My best friend sends all of her kids to public school, and they have an amazing time, and they really don't, they have their own struggles, but they're able to work through it, and she has a really great school that helps her through that. And then there's me. And, there's other people that literally have to move school districts so that their children are getting what they need in other school districts, which is an option and things to do as well. But also depends on your job, access to money. Do you have people to help you? So it really is, I'm going to finish this inside. But it's really about access. It's about what you have for support. Homeschool has so many perks. You don't have time limits for the most part, depending, unless you're a part of a group. You're able to work at your child's pace, at your pace. You can do things, take days off whenever you want to. You're in full control of your child. You are fully aware of your child. I could go dive deep about how schooling systems are so made up, and you would realize that if you were a homeschooler, because curriculum, there's nothing in particular curriculum that you need to have besides a few things, and it's really just telling you which subjects you should be going over. And the matter of what is controlled is up to you, which is why it really doesn't matter what school system you put into, and it's really about what you want your child to be teaching or being taught, and then what access you have. Those are the two huge things, because if there's no way that you'd be able to work without sending your kids to public school, which means you would never be able to survive, then homeschool might not be an option for you. And because finding childcare for older kids, I can promise you, is impossible unless you're getting nannies, which are more expensive. And so that's the other thing, is childcare. How much effort do you want to put in? Are you actually willing to take on the parent-teacher relationship? Because it fucking sucks. It's not fun, and you really have to take away the word expectations, and you really, really have to control yourself as a parent. And you don't have a choice but to be a gentle parent if you want to get through absolutely anything, and understand like where your kids come from. But you really can view taking them to school as the same way. You have the same struggles. That doesn't go away. It's just what is going to help my child learn in a way that is great for them and works for our family. And that's just really what it is. Because do you have time and effort and ability to take your children to everything that requires out of a public or private school system? It's the same thing. Are you willing to let them ride the bus? Are extracurricular activities and extra things like that are the same across all boards. There are still things in homeschool that you have to go and you have to watch them. There's things that you can drop them off. You have to drive to certain things. You have to drive to have the ability to be around homeschoolers. You have to reach out to people that might be anxiety ridden, and you don't necessarily have to do that with public schools because they kind of put you all in a group anyway, so you can meet people that way, and your children have access to meet children so much easier that you don't have to put together yourself. Yes, there's similar things with homeschooling, but again, the effort is totally different. And again, teaching your children is not a fun part of parenting. It can have a lot of healing moments, and finding your groove into homeschooling and realizing what things can actually count for hours, and curriculum. You would be surprised at how much, better a relationship you can have with your kids, and letting them learn in a very play-like manner, which I know schools try their best to do, but doesn't necessarily always happen. So, I would never go back on homeschool, ever, unless my child said no. I want to do it with my twins. I don't care what my life looks like that moment. I will adjust my scheduling and my curriculum to make sense for my kids and myself and my family at that moment. But I will not look back unless my kids say, I want to go into a school system, and I would gladly do them. That's how I feel about it. I just think the freedom and the way that my kid is learning right now and the ability to be able to do that is just what suits me best. But I have nothing against anything, and that's why I love these mom talks, and I love being able to do that, is because I'm truly a parent that there are a few subjects that I'm pretty judgmental on, and it's normally the sake of your children's health or something like that really bugs me, including mental health, not just physical. And yeah, but homeschooling, it can be extremely easy, but it costs money. It can be extremely hard, but it's free. It can be super great for you, even if it's totally free, because that's totally right up your alley to completely come up and organize with a curriculum per subject on what you're going to be doing, setting up lessons and prepping them for you. And you absolutely love that. And it works for your kid because now you're bonding with them. Maybe your kid has some sort of special need and this works for them no matter what, and putting in the effort will make sense for you, and you'll do whatever it takes to do that. And maybe public school is the only option that you have right now, because you need to be able to have access to these things for your children, to be taught them that you knew you wouldn't be able to handle, let alone you need the time away from your kids, let alone, they're getting things that they need that are special needs that only a public school would be able to offer because they have grants. There's no shame in whatever you do. And I promise you, it's the same thing as formula and breastfeeding, co-sleeping. It's about what works for you and your family and what you prioritize and have access to. It really is. It really comes down to that. So that's really all I have with homeschooling. But if you are interested in my course, I'm giving away discounted prices. Stay tuned on my social media accounts. There's going to be a couple given away for free, a couple 75% off, a couple 50% off, a couple 25% off, and then full price as of May 1st. So stay tuned. And it's nothing insane. The total price is max going to be $100. But still, being able to be the first 10 people to get the course, you're going to have a great discount. So let me know. And if you have any questions about homeschooling, I'm always just a message away.